sculptures. Putting in dialogue with the site, our true aim is to, and through connections that I'll mention later, is to receive artworks on loan. We are not purchasing large-scale artworks. We are attempting to also really leverage a need and a gap that so many artists, contemporary professional artists encounter, including my husband. If you work with large-scale art, you need a place to put it. And when it's not on view somewhere, you are paying for exorbitant storage space. So this conundrum of sorts, ideally, we can be one counterpart in that, in being able to provide exhibition space to work that meets a robust, criteria list of excellence for the standards that will be set for this curated program. But it is temporary. So the works could be there for a year, or maybe over time into the future, maybe for 2 years or 3. But the idea is that it does, remain dynamic, that there is reason for folks to come back for a second and third visit. And that when you visit the park, you're going to find something new, whether it's a new artwork because you came once before and you're returning, or you're just, it's becoming part of your experience and you're having another opportunity to look at art or the context that you're in through a new lens. Of course, the criteria will include the exhibition criteria, works that are made of materials that can withstand the weather and climatic conditions in this specific location. And the most important point is that with the installation program for the works, security, maintenance, lighting, and landscaping are all part of the plan. So when an individual work is placed, there will be a holistic plan that contemplates enhanced landscaping in that little area, security, specific lighting, so the work is well lit, and of course, just the commitment to excellence so that that artwork is maintained and is able to be appreciated for many over time. The Port of Los Angeles is our partner in this process, in that we will have a permit from them for temporary exhibitions in order to facilitate this program. And with that, they have committed so far to also enhancing their own maintenance of the park. So the things that they should be doing.
Okay, we know, we hear you, but they have said that.
They do mow the lawn. Sometimes.
Took our tour there.
Oh, yeah.
I mentioned that a lot of this is rooted in the connectivity components, of the waterfront connectivity plan, but also the master plan for the port in terms of enhancing access to the waterfront. So we understand this project, them to be supporters of the project because of that reason as well.
Diana, you ready for questions?
Are you the next slide?
She's so
Next slide,
fine.
please.
Oh, are we done?
No, she can't.
Okay, we can go faster.
So these are some photographs of the existing spots in the park that might be ideal for installation. I know they're small. This is, again, just kind of rooting your eyes on the location of the areas that we're speaking about.
The main thing here is that we, in terms of the connectivity to the rest of minor at that corner, starting with something at that corner. The pathway is already so nice and it's got that navigation symbol that has the rest of the boardwalk. So really activating this pathway as part of the whole experience that you're gonna have that'll come up with the master plan for the arts too. The next slide.
These are additional images. These ones, the top ones are from that upper pathway.
And you can see from that when we were walking there the other day, you know, it's just, it can be beautified. Let's just put it that way.
And then the next slide gives a few examples, these are not examples for the type of art that we are considering. It's more just to show you how the immediate landscaping supports where the art is living in this outdoor environment.
And just with native plants, you know, this is just like a, you know, it's, you can enhance the, well, okay.
That's a key word, and that's.
Native plants, native plant, that's good here. A good word.
Who's the expert? Oh.
Alan France.
Right, yeah, because,
For pandering.
no, I didn't know that.
It's both.
I mean, it's just like this was up that lot in Malibu that was just a vacant lot. And they just, this is just in the last few years, they landscaped it. And it's just like wildlife is there, the birds are there, like everything is happening just from putting some plants in. So that's part of what we can leverage if we're doing the art, having them, okay. Pastor, you're trying to go.
All right,
Okay.
so,
We're gonna try to wrap it up.
Okay, sorry.
So,
Okay, we can.
yeah, the project is broken into phases. This is an ambitious project. We have a whole plan for, you know, piecing it into segments. We can pass through this
Yeah,
one.
go through this fast.
There is a whole arts and education component to this, so that there are opportunities for anyone experiencing art in the park can go deeper. We are already in conversation with Angels Gate and Crafted and some others about being partners. So, you know, helping partner on things that are already existing and adding the sculptural
For
component.
example, like at the Boys and Girls Club, we went to the breakfast that you guys hosted there the other day, and we're talking to them because they've got a great arts program, but they don't have sculpture. So we were talking to them how we can talk about sculpture and things.
how about the San Pedro Backup Program, Visual Performing Arts?
Well,
Or-
yeah,
Well, that's on the schedule.
we don't know about that.
We can advance to the next slide. So also, I forgot to mention that Art Port LA is part of the chamber, a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
Yay.
And Cynthia.
I can just do this fast. So
Okay.
there's a vacant lot up at the top of the park next to where Kelly Marine is, and I bought that lot because I didn't want somebody else to get it and mess it up because I didn't want somebody to put something horrible there. So we're gonna put, hopefully, if we can figure it out, the shipping container buildings that would have the administrative center, a gallery, a shop, and, you know, an overlook onto the park, and that's where you can do a lot of the education and everything from there too. Next slide. Impact, lots of impact,
Yeah,
bringing beauty. The main bottom one is the main thing, bring beauty into the world for the communities near and far. That's what we're trying to do. Create a global destination, enhancing civic art, economic development, cultural tourism, you know, all of that. Next slide. We have a lot of partnerships and existing resources that we can leverage. Getting the artworks on loan. We have, you know, a whole database of all these organizations that want to participate, from global organizations to regional, to all the museums in LA we've spoken to collectors, to galleries. You know, so we can go into more detail about all of that, but there's a lot of partners that want to participate. Next slide. Yeah, and then the local partners that we've already, you know, in deep communication with, and letters of support from. And next slide. You know, arts and academics and partners and schools and biennales. And next slide. This was our tour last week. We welcome you all to come, whoever didn't get to. We're taking site tours and we have dialogue and conversation and include everybody.
yeah, to make the abstract a little more real, I'm seeing it.
Next one, May
On-site.
13th. If anybody didn't get the last one, you can join us for that one.
May 13th. May
13th.
May 13th.
13th.
19th.
May 13th.
Here's the 19th.
13th. Okay,
I will circulate, if you'd like to, list your name and email, I can send you a reminder before the 13th. If you'd like to join us, I'll get that out, and keep you posted on what we're up to.
okay, next.
I think-
slide. I think that's it.
When you're ready.
Yeah, join us. Thank you.
Okay, Doug, so Doug,
Yeah, I do one quick one. This is in the coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council area, and whenever I see a presentation, my first thought goes to, okay, what are we going to hear about from residents? There's one thing that pops into my head here. You mentioned lighting for the sculptures. There are residents all along Crescent up there who overlook this park. And whatever happens in terms of nighttime lighting for security purposes has to be worked out in such a way that it's not shining up toward people's
Absolutely.
windows, because I know the first people that are going to hear about it are us. I'm going to get emails, calls, whatever, or Robin will, or Noel will, from somebody who said,
Good point. Yeah, no, it'd be very sensitive.
but other than that, that's the only thing that popped into my head, so you're doing good.
okay,
Yeah, good
I
point.
love the location. I feel it's been underutilized for years. And is there any other area you're also considering, or you're really focused on this, which I hope is going to be your answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for the time being, this is.
The idea that a port, you know, it's a port, art port, so you come there, you can go other places, but this is the focal point. Establish that, make it world-class and amazing, and then other places that can go along the boardwalk, you know, depending on how much there is, because you don't want to overload it. But this is the focus.
Sure. Will there be graffiti, as you know, in any park? It seems like our parks, it's nightly.
Mhm.
How do you prepare the artwork for graffiti? Do you have special coding?
That's, you know, part of there's protocols for art in public spaces and public parks, and that's part of the
The
whole
easy clean
conversation.
graffiti off.
And there's a maintenance program, and some of the art, you know, there's a protocol for all that.
Are the artists paid like for rent, say if it's there a year or it's 2 months, they're paid sort of like you're renting your art?
Not necessarily,
Oh,
because it depends on who owns it. So if the artist owns it, you know, I mean, each piece would be different. So we're not commissioning art.
yes.
We're
you're not
just
commissioned.
letting it be exhibited.
Well, I'm just sort of wondering, how does the artist support themselves if they're not being compensated for
Because
their?
this art, they may have sold decades ago to somebody already. you
Oh.
know. So it may be in a collector's or in a gallery or in the artist's estate. So each piece would be different.
Interesting, thank you. Thank you.
Laura. So this really sounds wonderful. If I wasn't so familiar with this park. I hope I'm not speaking out of turn that the port hasn't really taken care of this park. There's quite a few ongoing homeless encampments, because I deal with that. Off and on, it hasn't been a safe space. They constantly have to clear the shrubbery because they keep building new encampments in there. So I want to have a confidence level that, I mean, I had great expectations for this park that never really happened. So I don't want to be a negative, but why now all of a sudden the port's gonna take responsibility and take care of this park? You say you're gonna handle, or part of the landscaping? Is it just gonna be the landscaping by the sculptures or the whole park?
What they have said to us is that they focus attention on, you know, where they're involved. And part of the connectivity study identified this spot as a major opportunity for
Good
art.
word.
And so that's why we're starting on that lower edge that's already where there's, you know, crafted and there's a lot of activity there already.
Right.
And then slowly starting to expand up so that as it gets more activated, there will be more activity and there will be, you know, there won't be the homeless situation because you'll have more activity and there will be more security. We will have private security to enhance public, the port security, I mean, everything will be activated more. Because the more you have activity, the safer it is.
Well, quite often, the homeless actually go to where there is activity, but
Well,
that's a whole other
we're not
argument.
gonna be
Yeah.
fighting.
I just want to see the improvement, so I mean, I'm hopeful for
We
this.
can't put the
Right.
art there if there's that situation.
Right, well,
Let's
of
put
course,
it that
and
way.
I'm hoping with the native plants that we have an opportunity that we're labeling the native plants,
Exactly.
so that's
It's
educational. He's your man there, so I hope this improves that
Put
area.
that note on when you sign in, that you're the person.
There's a plant
I'm the
man.
Okay.
Just to piggyback on what Lori said, in my day job at the chamber, we've been doing a lot of advocacy with port officials at Harbor Commission and testifying on increased budget for the construction and maintenance division, increased staffing. So that's help we'd love from all of you. We're going to start up again at Harbor Commission. I know we're in a very difficult budget
Yeah.
time right now, but it's really imperative. I mean, the park, we walked it is in terrible condition. And, you're right, but I think, we would look for a lot of pieces from the community. If we're gonna support Artport, we need to get to the podium at Harbor Commission and say maintenance is a deep concern for the community. And we need the port's commitment to
The
maintain.
neighbors
the
would be very supportive.
Look,
Yeah.
Yes, they were on our tour. We did have neighbors on our
They
tour.
were
They
very
expressed
excited.
concerns.
Okay.
Yes, that's all I have. Bob was next.
Well, I'm a neighbor, although a few blocks over, actually.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you for carrying on the conversation with me in our walk around the park on that day, as I did learn some things. At the same time, when the first word that I hear is underprogrammed, I have a rather different point of view, and I'd like to share it briefly, which is Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council fought a battle for that space that took 7 years. And when we came upon it, in fact, when we came into existence as a council, it was an old tank farm, overgrown with a barbed wire fence around it. And people remember that Coastal led that battle. And we fought the port tooth and nail every step of the way because they wanted to put a mini mall in one corner and we fought that off. They wanted to build what was essentially a couple of condominium towers on the other end. We fought that off. The city councilwoman came in and actually sent a representative to say that they were giving it over to essentially what was the Little League, and we fought that off. So we do have a sense of ownership in it, and I guess we're a little surprised that you didn't come to us because we had a meeting and, and at the same time, I did shop this around a little bit. I did talk to colleagues and so on. And one of the things that was raised with me, which is something that maybe we're a little oversensitive down the other end of town, but this is really being presented to us as a top-down proposal. And the suggestion was, we need a few years and we need a little time to think about our own vision, because this is actually fairly new. If you had been back here 10 years ago, all you would have seen was that barbed wire fence. So the barbed wire fence, whatever,
Things are going on before neighborhood councils were started.
yeah, and I certainly can see that there were other people who were involved. We fought it, we won it. I will point out that June Smith and Richard Havenick and so on, who aren't here today, were very helpful fighting it at the level of the Port Community Advisory Committee. I think that we have, what I'm saying is we don't really trust the port for very good reasons. The idea that they would spend another nickel on upkeep and maintenance, that's been an ongoing battle. So that would take a serious commitment from a city that is suddenly cutting staff and won't be hiring people. Why? Because your city councilman voted for the salary increases.
Thank you, Bob.
So,
Diana?
Yeah.
Let's call on it. Shouldn't be the committee members that you call on. Were you calling me out?
You have your hand up?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see your hand. I'll call on you and then I'll call on James.
By law, all public facilities, including the property in the Port of LA, belong to all neighborhood councils and not just somebody that's say south of 15th Street or some such. So I'm glad you're here, where all the 3 neighborhood councils in San Pedro are represented.
Yep.
I have 3 kind of questions. You got a sense of your 1-year and 5-year budgets? What kind of money we're talking about here that you have that you're needing to administer your program. Number 2, who is your point person in the port that you're dealing with?
Mike Galvin.
Mike Alvin, okay. And the 3rd one is, we talked to you the possibility of having some role in all the other like art and particularly the sculpture items that are scattered throughout the port already, not just at 22nd Street, but along the.
That's what the arts master plan that they're,
Yeah. And I foresee a role for you in that.
yes, as a stakeholder. We're not going to be doing the master plan, but we will be advising it as a stakeholder.
And the budget
On the
question?
budget question, we're beginning the process of launching a research development campaign. So the first year is just then for like general operating costs, remote workers, myself and Cynthia, as well as our board. But we actually had already one of our fundraising strategies is art program trips. We took a group to New Zealand earlier this year as part of our donor cultivation strategy and brought in funding through that. That's happening again this fall. And then a lot of folks in Cynthia's large network of art patrons.
Yeah.
Is Artport is just 22nd Street, or is Artport something that's nationwide? I don't have any sense of who you are.
It's Artport LA, and it's 22nd Street, but also above at the Arts and Education place we want to put up above. And then again, it could extend into some of the other areas of the port along the boardwalk, front of the Maritime Museum and all that. But we really are trying to focus our attention on making something excellent in those underserved areas so with monumental sculpture there. And then there will be another program that we're calling like a cultural Olympiad, representing artists of very many cultures for the Olympics, including many of the ones that are represented in San Pedro. So there's a lot of programs, but we're focusing our attention on making the first phase excellent and workable and sustainable. And then everything else will come from that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
On the budget question, do you have a 1-year goal, 5-year goal for your budget?
We do. Once we're at scale, the operating budget for this nonprofit should be around 1.8 million. A lot of this depends on the individual artwork installation and loan agreements because they're so bespoke. So while that's, kind of the rough number, it will come down to what is available on the timeline for.
And that also includes the educational programming, because we want to have sculpture education and the artist in residence, and we want to build the campus. So there's many phases, and we have budgets and development plans for all of it.
The build out, which is relatively, I'll say simple, because it is based in the idea of using repurposed shipping containers. That portion of Artport LA will advance as best as possible on its own timeline while we are placing artworks in the park. I'm stating this to make it clear that that piece of the program is not dependent on us being able to advance with work in the park.
James, and we've got 2 or 3 more people who've got their hands up.
I'll make this quick.
Yeah, thank you.
Under a previous administration at the Port of LA, there was already a arts program, a very prominent arts consultant that designated and got in some places like the fish in front of Boutros and the ship in the bottle down on the other. There was a whole plan that only got partially executed. So you're aware of that, okay?
Heard.
So there are a whole lot of discussions that are already taking place, both within the art community and with the port, that have long been forgotten. Okay, so there's that history behind all of this. So this is not a new idea. Every time that the community has gone to the port and said, oh, but how about the percent for the arts? And the port says, well, you know, there's a limitation on what we can spend on art, and it can only be done so many miles, you know, from the port. It's got to be relation to the port and all this. You guys are the project, percent for the arts. Every time that they put up a building, every time they decide to do anything down there, 1% of that budget should be going towards public art. And as long as you have the support and you know, involvement of the community, that's where you start getting your $1.6 million, because the port's not stopping its build out on a lot of things.
Thank you.
Yeah, we've been wondering about that and asking about that.
Well, they're not going to tell you.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you, and the Department of Cultural Affairs oftentimes doesn't really want to explain that to anybody. I've asked them multiple times. It's gotten to the point where I have to file a Public Records Act. So there are, I mean, you have this man right here, Alan France, who is an expert on native plants. That whole hillside could be an art project with native plants.
Yeah.
And some kind of, you know, terracing or whatever it takes place. And you'd have no argument from a neighborhood council and or people that live along there. It would be a great benefit to the whole community to do that. And it's something that I've thought about for a long time. There is a necessity. And you see, a lot of people look at art as being something that is, oh, we're just going to beautify the area. If you read the article about Pope Francis in Hypoallergic that came out a week ago, he talked about the arts as being a human necessity, and that beauty in human activity is more than just something, you know, to keep people busy. Okay, there is a greater purpose that evokes some kind of greater humanity. All right, and this is what this project has the opportunity for. And the last thing I'll tell you is that the reason why the harbor cut at the bottom of 6th Street was decided to be put in there was because a very famous sculptor in this community was on a panel. And we were arguing about how do you bring the community closer to the water?
About the water closer to the community.
And he just said, well, how about if we bring the water closer to the community? And there were lots and lots of great, fantastic ideas about how to do that, even putting a small canal into the park. Okay. And putting canals through ports of call and all this kind of stuff, which are fabulously creative ideas. But we do have that kind of creativity right here in River City.
Thank you, James.
Actually,
Adrian, and then Sam.
Just really quickly, on average, how many sculptures will be there after phase 1 and 2? You know, complete a count on how many art sculptures will be there on average.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
How many art sculptures will be there on average after phase 1 and 2 is completed?
For the park, we're hoping for about 15 for those first 2 phases, but we're intending to place sculpture in the arts and education space that Cynthia mentioned in the upper lot. which would be at a different scale because it's a different size
And it
property.
really depends on the pieces, because you just want to have each one have its own space, but then they relate to one another and, you know.
Which is, we have to talk about curating.
Right.
And then just last one, what would, security look like? I just want to touch on Miss Neely's question on security right down on Harbor Boulevard, where they have some of the monuments, seeing that some of the plaques have been stolen, right?
Yeah.
So are you working with Port
Black
Police? Are you
Knight.
working with LAPD?
Oh.
Are you?
We talked to Black Knight.
Good. Black Knight.
At your
Mm.
chamber
There would be a
breakfast.
specific security plan through someone like them, for example,
So
that.
you're using a private security?
Well, both. I mean, there's port security, there's private security. There'll be cameras, there'll be a variety of mechanisms to ensure security.
Okay, Sam, did you have your?
Yeah, I'm just curious on the schedule for the project, because you said, proof of concept artwork in 2026. What does the next steps or milestones look like? I mean, is there a permitting process for the art?
The next step is to get the permit for the temporary exhibition. And then, I mean, that's in process. And our next step now, we've been socializing it, we've been taking people on site tours. We're now trying to find the art and do the curating process. We've got a council of advisors. We'd be happy to talk to you a little bit more, but we've got some world-class people out there looking for pieces of art. Because we'd like to get some pieces in 26. That's really important to be able to scale to where we want to be for the Olympics.
So will the community at some point see a more detailed plan of exactly which location that is going there before it
Sure.
progresses?
And you're welcome to come on the tour with us and see what we're talking about.
Yeah, because it's just, some of these that we have listed the different sort of like, for example, like Desert X versus some of these others. In my mind, and I'm not super familiar with all these, but they seem like very different types of art that happens at those events. So I'm just curious about.
Well, they're site specific.
Right.
And, there's lots of art that's created for like a biennale or something, and then where does it go? And even CRA art, there's a lot of art that we met with Councilman McCosker, and he's like, what happened to some of the sculpture? So we're looking, this next couple of months, we'll be looking at all these different opportunities to see what meets our standards, that is appropriate for the site. But the idea of repurposing major sculpture also, rather than having to commission something from scratch, seemed like a good idea.
And also they're referenced as collaborators for a model, not specifically
Yeah.
for a loan art.
It's the idea that they do something and they attract people, and it's really cool. I went last week, the art isn't, I mean, it's exciting, and you go there and you see other people who are also interested in it. It's really fun.
Adele.
The South Bay Botanical Gardens a few years
Yes.
ago did that wonderful traveling exhibit of the beautiful sculptures. Unbelievable how creative people are, from the waste, all from the ocean or from the sea, the
Yeah.
sand, whatever. Would we be a large enough venue to host a program like that?
Yes.
Because it was pretty extensive.
And they also have art on loan from LACMA.
Yeah.
So that's LACMA loans to retail, shopping centers south of.
Oh, yes, South Coast Plaza.
So LACMA, we are in conversation with them. We expect to be able to, hopefully, but that's going to take a little longer because it goes through the process. But yes, that's part of the reason for the property up above.
Yes.
Be able to be something
Oh,
that
that
would
would be
host
just
exhibitions and things like
wonderful.
that.
We have a number of other items on our agenda, so we.
Sorry.
We should,
Quick question.
Yeah.
What if, some wealthy people are walking through and they decide they really like a piece and want to buy it?
That would be great. Then we'll
Is
put
that
another
you?
one.
I would like to see you bring a more specific presentation, maybe with some pictures. It is true that this is park that's owned by the people of Los Angeles, all 4 million, but we live there. So there are some issues, and there's a vision. See, I see this as open space. And if you're gonna convert open space into technologically used space, you only have one chance, because after that, it's no longer open space. So let's talk, because this could be a wonderful thing. I'm willing to be open-minded about it, but I'm not really convinced about the security aspects.
Okay, that's.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you
all.
I think my other comment is, I'm hoping that as you put together your board of directors, you're looking at some local people to be on
Yes.
the board.
Yes,
The local input, I think, is really important.
yes.
But thank you.
I mean, it's very.
Thank you. Should we go?
Very exciting. You referenced
Sorry about that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
Okay, the next item, excuse me, next item on the agenda is to consider a CIS. So what time are we at?
7:30.
But first, let's consider a CIS in support of Council File 25-0002 S19, which is, would be to, the council file is in opposition to Senate Bill 79. So supporting the council file would be opposing Senate Bill 79.
Did we skip 5?
Thank you.
Brian's not here.
What?
Wonderful.
Did you get a report from Ryan to share?
Oh, sorry, there is a report.
Yes. I will.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll back up. We have a report from Brian.
All right, so Brian sent this note to us about an hour or so ago. Hello, as you already know, the Vincent Thomas Bridge Community Update meeting takes place tonight. Well, I'll do my best to join virtually, and he hasn't yet. I want to make sure I share these local updates with all of you. Our office is pleased to share that Caltrans has evaluated the Western Avenue bike lane project and will restore the parking lot on the east side of SR 213 between 19th Street and 25th Street. The adjustment will require eliminating the buffer for the bike lanes on both sides of the street from 19th Street and 25th Street. A formal letter will be sent by Caltrans communicating this change. Well, that was known. Additionally, Caltrans is in the preliminary stages of adding a traffic light on the Pacific Coast Highway and Drum Avenue, potentially by 2029. They're working to add temporary lighting in the meantime. More information is to come. Appreciate your ongoing communication, ideas, and concerns. All the best, Brian and Martinez, Senator Laura Richardson, 35th District. That's the report. Thank you.
Thank you. So, oops, my first is back there.
Okay.
So, Proposition 79 is another piece of state legislation that was designed to increase the areas where multifamily structures can be built, overriding local planning decisions, primarily by expanding the areas to be upzoned near bus routes. If passed, this legislation would override portions of the housing element that was recently adopted by the city of LA. Unlike the city's plan, the legislation has no requirement for affordability in exchange for the greater density. If passed, it would deprive the city of one of the tools it has to incentivize affordable housing development. The city council motion is to include opposition in its state legislative program, to include opposition unless SB 79 is amended to exempt the municipalities that have a state-approved and compliant housing element, which LA now has. Yesterday, there was a hearing in the Senate Housing Committee on SB 79. And the word from somebody who listened to it was that it was passed, but not without concern from several committee members who stated that they might later withhold their support. And among the concerns they expressed were the fact that the bill does not allow good actors to be treated differently from bad actors. And I'm assuming that refers to who's got an approved plan and who doesn't. And the lack of affordability requirements, as well as the fact that it was one more taking away of any local planning. So that was the suggestion would be to Coastal has already submitted a CIS. They did a whole resolution and then submitted a CIS in support of the council file. I think that this is consistent with past actions that our committee has taken. Didn't know if anyone from Northwest wanted to make a motion or consider this, or if we should put it over to later. And the same question I would raise then of Central.
I'd make a motion to essentially do what Coastal did on theirs. I think the reasons for it are well stated.
So you're
Feel free to
moving,
use them.
you're moving to adopt the coastal resolution,
Well,
or just simply to,
moving to support the council
or just simply to,
resolution, yeah,
yeah, to support, okay.
right.
So you move to file a CIS in
Right.
support.
I'll
Is there any-
sense the opposition.
This would be in support of the council motion, which is in opposition.
Yes.
In support of the proposal.
Yes.
May I ask a question on this?
Hold on.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
I'm seconding.
Okay, Linda seconded. Yes, now it's time for discussion. There are any committee members that have any questions or comments? Pat?
Well, I read Coastal's CIS, everything. I think, you know, and the fact that this is promoted by Assemblyperson Weiner up in Marine County. I mean, he's been the motivation or the person behind the complete annihilation of any local planning authority for many years and saddled Los Angeles and us locally here with many burdens that really were unfair, including the abdication of any environmental considerations. So, for example, the lack of any parking or transportation element consideration for some of the by right development that they've had, and then the upzoning of Los Angeles, in spite of all the work we've done throughout Los Angeles to have a livable community. This particular bill that he's got going now would take away the.
Are you speaking to 79 or are you sticking to the next one, Pat?
Anyway, no, it's enough. I've made the motion.
Okay.
Somebody else talk about
I
it.
think you're getting ready to speak to the next one. Okay, is there any other committee members that have a question or, yeah?
Does this apply? It says the SB 79 applies to train stations and major bus stops, rapid transit stops. Does this apply to anywhere?
Is it right?
Does it apply to anywhere in San Pedro?
Yeah, it applies to bus routes now. Before it was just bus stops, but this one also includes bus routes, as I understand it.
It says bus rapid transit.
Yeah, we
don't have any that's rapid enough. So the frequency of trips during the rush hour time periods and the ones in San Pedro don't meet those requirements. So this SB 79 wouldn't apply to San Pedro specifically.
there's some
Except that
question.
they do try to tell people that you can take advantage of this transit oriented community stuff. And developers build projects based on that. And then it turns out that they find out later that we don't actually have them, and the maps that we have that are showing them are not correct. Big problem.
Oh, I had a question.
So I appreciate you explaining a lot of this, and I do understand that we don't want big government to tell all the cities, you know, what they can do. I mean, working for the South Bay government, okay, they very much were opposed to anything like this, that, you know, they did their housing elements. I'm just trying to understand, because stuff that I've read that, I hate saying the name Wiener, but that Wiener's done because it makes him laugh. Grow up. Is that I thought his intent was to get more affordable housing, yet the way this is written, there's no, just like the SB 9 and SB 10, was nothing in there, and definitely nothing about EIRs in there. So I'm trying to understand what his goal is with this.
What evidently he said, or his staff said in the hearing, was that, you know, you build more housing, just building more housing creates more affordable housing.
Okay, that's stupid.
Well,
Supply and demand thing.
premise
It doesn't.
that has been put forward.
And have there
We
been,
don't want to have a long discussion about.
okay, I just want to say, has there been any other legislation that speaks more to doing what they want to do near transit that is affordable housing.
Well, the city had a very good program in existence to do that.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Housing element.
So, okay, is Central Neighborhood Council, is Northwest ready to vote?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will call the vote for Northwest. Jason Herring,
Yes.
Linda Alexander,
Yes.
Pat Nave,
Yes.
Tom Norman,
Yes.
Sam Rampy,
Yeah.
Garrett,
Yes.
and Diana. So it passed unanimously from Northwest. Does Central want to do anything with this, Lamar?
So move. Second. We'll talk coastal. I'll call it. Frank,
Right.
you with me?
Anderson,
Frank.
Is he still there? Yeah, he's iPad, isn't he?
Oh, Frank, let
He's
me
muted.
I had 5.
ask to unmute. He's got himself muted.
There he is.
Yes. Thanks, I had 5.
Frank.
Adrian.
Okay, that takes care of that.
Mark. Yes, passed unanimously.
The next item is to consider a motion in opposition to Senate Bill 607. It was one that Coastal has passed and one that Robin asked to be put on the agenda. So Robin's going to talk about it.
Okay, I'll just do a quick summary. This is again Senator Weiner. And it's to sort of gut CEQA, you could say, very bad for the protection.
The digital kiosk one.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out which file this one was, what it was called.
I was just looking for the.
Go ahead, Robin.
All right.
So I put the right thing up there.
So basically it would make many changes to CEQA, including exemption for any zoning change that was consistent with the jurisdiction's approved housing element. A problem is that the housing element is primarily concerned with housing and not so much all of these environmental issues like toxic materials and other environmental impacts. So just providing for consistency with the housing element doesn't ensure that the rezoning or the other changes wouldn't have an adverse environmental impact. They want to redefine urban infill categorical exemption that would include not just housing, but also most commercial and industrial uses. The only exception is distribution centers for oil and gas infrastructure. So even a chemical plant, a private sewage storage and treatment facility, a toxic waste storage and treatment, all those would be exempt from CEQA review. It's just unheard of and shouldn't happen. And the bill goes too far. And so we're requesting Councilmember McCosker to introduce a motion for the city's state legislative program to oppose Senate Bill 607.
this has been adopted by Coastal.
This has been adopted by Coastal. So Northwest,
I move
you move what, Pat?
to adopt also ask Tim McCosker to introduce a motion to oppose it as part of the legislative agenda for the city of Los Angeles.
Second.
Is that Jason?
Yeah.
Any discussion?
But I'll remember if it's.
Looks like people are ready to vote. Okay, so Jason?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Yes.
Sam?
Yes.
Garrett?
Yes.
And I'll vote yes, so that one carried unanimously. The next one is the one that Axel was talking about. We talked a little bit about at the
Is the
beginning.
central gonna vote on that?
Sorry, I just skipped
Your chopped liver.
Central. Sorry.
Oh, chopped liver.
Second.
A question?
Frank? Yes. Adrian? Yes. Lamar?
Yes.
Yes, motion passes unanimous.
Lamar moved and Adrian seconded on that one.
Yes.
Okay, sometimes it's hard to take minutes and conduct a meeting at the same time. I'm sorry. Adrian.
By the way, Dan, I just wanted to add, thank you all for supporting that. And I think it's appropriate that our council member would take the lead on this because we have so many projects in the port area that do need CEQA reviews, and this would impact those too. So we have to try to oppose it and hold on to our environmental protections. So thank you.
Okay, the next one was the
Kiosks.
the interactive kiosk experience program. And Robin, Central Coastal has also adopted this, and Robin asked to have it put on the agenda. And at the same time, so there's a motion in opposition to it. The council office has actually since then introduced a motion in support, actually.
Council office.
Council office to instruct the city tourism department to release a request for proposal for the installation and maintenance of interactive kiosks in the city of LA's public right of way within 30 days. So that was the council's motion after Coastal had already done theirs. So go ahead with your motion.
Yeah, this came in on April 11th. And our motion was in reaction to this. And I don't think it's the council office really, it's I think the Trade and Tourism Committee. I think the council file was about to expire. You can see those dates, April 21st, 2023, and then almost 2 years later, but before the 2 years ended, they're putting in this motion. And so I don't think it's like our council office taking a stand. I think it's just one of the city council subcommittees just making sure it stays alive to be considered. And the problem is it never really has been considered adequately in terms of its impacts. And by the way, since this meeting started, I got a copy of the map of where they would put these 9-foot tall iPhone looking interactive kiosks in San Pedro. And I don't have a digital, but it's all the way up and down Gaffey, which didn't make any sense to me. And then 6th from Gaffey to Harbor, and then a ways down Pacific from 6th to 10th. So I don't think they really gave it, much thought in terms of where it should go, what would be appropriate in any case. But we voted to oppose this, and I think it's just not needed because the current programs can handle all of this functionality, and it would take away advertising money from our current programs and all the protections we fought so hard to have for our bus riders. But I'm glad to answer any questions. We can go over our whereases in our motion if you want, or wait and see what Axel comes up with in terms of additional information.
So Robin, my question is, and I haven't seen that map, and thank you for finding it, and I'd love to take a look at it.
I'll send it.
Thank you. I still want, I understand the concerns, but I would still like to talk about a carve out or discussion if this program could be available to specific tourism locations, cruise ship terminal, aquarium, Battleship, Iowa, rather than a complete opposed position, maybe opening the door to some discussion around intense tourism uses. The PBIT and the chamber work with hundreds of visitors every year, pulling up maps for them for Metro and LADOT. These kiosks are supposed to be interactive with event information, maps, bus information, safety information. And I just think there's a place, maybe not where those locations were never discussed with us, but as I said, we go back to 2019 on this program. So I don't know how to address this, but I would just love the opportunity, especially with West Harbor opening up, other locations like that, to be able to use a program. I mean, as it was presented to us, and Denver has in their program, local organizations can promote local events in their community. There's all kinds of applications beyond advertising. And I just think for our tourism destinations, there could be a place and for this type of program, not necessarily 9 feet, But I just hate to completely close the door.
What about, I'm thinking about this, I'm thinking, what about a motion for a CIS that we would oppose this council motion until such time there is more opportunity for community input into what would be the whole, it's just not, it's more than locations, into the proposed program.
Could I ask a question, Diana?
Yeah,
For Robin, I guess. So with regard to port property, do we know, does this proposed program cover the entire city, including port property? Because if it doesn't, then theoretically the port could develop its own program for wayfinding and other things, I would think.
Probably could anyway, yeah.
But do
Yeah,
you
no, I think
know?
you're right. Well, yeah, I just skimmed through all the maps. That's how I found our downtown map. And it's nothing's in the port area. So I think it's just meant to be in the, tour related
yeah.
part of the city, or I don't know.
Yeah. See, the problem is that unless we see actual contracts or RFP responses or stuff like that, we don't know what's included, what's not included. You know, does it mean, for instance, if this goes through, that they would be limited to those areas they've identified, or could they expand to other areas? See, we have a million questions.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
that's why I was thinking of taking a position of opposing it until such time as there's adequate
Yeah.
opportunity for community input.
You could do oppose if unless amended kind of thing. That's typically, I think, the
Yeah.
choice they give you.
Yeah, that would be the intent of that.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking how the CIF. work.
You're right.
Just following up on Doug's comment here. If it's on port property, whatever got decided would have to go through the Harbor Commission. And if it's on port property, who's funding this? Is this being funded by the city itself? And if it,
It's my impression that it's advertising on the kiosk that would fund the kiosk.
okay,
And that the revenue from that advertising would go to travel and tourism in Los Angeles.
okay, so it would be absolutely much more appropriate for this to be in the part of San Pedro that is designated for tourism.
Yeah.
Okay, and in which case, if you're gonna make the amendment, make it specific to parts of Los Angeles that are dedicated to tourism. Okay, because you don't want to have it, I mean, there's absolutely no point for it to be going down Gaffey Street, right?
Yeah.
No, we could end up with Sunken
The
City.
question I have for Northwest, does anyone from Northwest?
Really interesting.
Does anyone from Northwest want to make a motion?
I'm trying to phrase something. I'm opposing as it is, but essentially we need more detail.
So that was the oppose unless amended until such time as there's adequate opportunity for community review and input.
Make a motion to table, which takes precedence. And can we schedule it so we can get some information? So I agree with Linda, we just.
Right.
So we don't have enough information. We don't know how much community input.
I'd like to
I'll
review the
make-
map
I'll make a-
before I say
me.
anything.
Whoever's speaking, I had the floor.
Sounded like Jason.
It sounds.
So it's hard to jump in when you're remote.
I didn't see your hand, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, never mind.
The reason I was suggesting the opposal was amended is that they've got that 30-day report back in here, so I thought it was important to get something in. And then I would like, I mean, I think we need more information. The point was we need more information. But there is a motion
When does Northwest meet?
in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks, so we're still within the 30-day period then?
Well, then, no, it wouldn't go to the board until after the 30-day period.
After when?
It wouldn't be able to go to our board until after the 30-day period was up.
Yeah, if we
And,
have-
and you know, I will say, oftentimes there are motions that say report back in so many days, and they don't, it doesn't have any time period, so I can't say it would really happen. But that was the reason I was thinking of the opposed unless amended.
I like that, Diana. I think it's better than not doing anything. And by the way, can I share? I want to show you the map. I figured out how to.
Oh, wonderful.
I know Jason and others wanted to see it real quick. Now, where did it go? Oh. Okay. Oh.
You need to be a co-host to be able to share.
Oh, you need to be a
No,
co-host.
she's a panelist, she should be able to.
No, she should be a co-host to share.
Yeah. Unless there's nothing to do with it.
Are you promoting her?
No, it actually says who can host, so panelists can. I can't promote anyway because I'm not the host. Yeah, so she was able.
Make it bigger.
See the map? Do you see the map?
Yeah.
It's like a.
Okay.
Small.
Can you make that window maximize?
You see your whole desktop.
Yeah.
Great.
That's interesting though, just those streets.
Hide all your embarrassing.
Click in the up, so it takes full screen.
If you send it to me, Robin, I'll put it in the minutes.
Yeah,
I'll attach it to the meeting.
All right.
All right, Jason, you were trying to jump in. Were you seconding the table motion or?
Well, I mean, that's a part of the discussion, right? So if we're tabling it, but we have some time constraints here, we should take action today, right? I would oppose as is because I think the citing is inappropriate and it needs to be revisited. However, if someone wants to word that, I think some others that were in the room were making some other statements to that effect.
Is there a motion?
Were you making?
Yeah. So that we oppose,
Oh, yeah, we should vote on tabling, so.
yeah.
Which is a motion.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I like the phrasing, the citing is inappropriate. And we need community input before we go forward. So
rather than oppose unless amendment, just oppose, and this is a citing is inappropriate
just, yeah, opposing it as is.
and as is. Oppose as is. The citing is inappropriate and there needs to be adequate time for community input.
Sure.
So there's an agreement with that, too, right?
Is there a second to that motion? Anyone on Northwest want to second that motion?
Second,
Later.
Any more discussion before we vote on the motion? Okay. Jason,
yes.
Linda,
Yes.
Pat, Thomas,
Yes.
Sam,
Yes.
Garrett, and Diana, yes, so unanimous.
Central.
Central,
We're gonna have to take this committee.
okay. That was the last action item. We now have updates of interest to the committee, and there's several interesting updates. I was gonna have Elise announce what happened to council yesterday, but
Axel
I already did. In terms of One San Pedro's approval, also One San Pedro has acquired the property at 101 Harbor Boulevard. That what used to be a church that's been boarded up for years and years.
Yeah.
One San Pedro has bought that, so that will be somehow incorporated into the One San Pedro district.
They're gonna tear it down.
That was a.
They'll tear it down.
Falling down. No, the termites are keeping it together.
The next one's an information item. The Green Hills has filed plans with the city of RPV to construct a 10-foot tall freestanding stone Vietnam War Veterans Memorial and decorative hardscape. And there's a notice about it in your agenda packet if you want to know more. The next one is that Janice Hahn Plans to introduce a motion to have Metro explore the feasibility of operating a water taxi during the 2028 Summer Games.
Yeah.
That would ferry attendees between San Pedro and Long Beach.
Would that lead to transit-oriented development?
Huh?
Could that lead to
Yes.
transit-oriented development along?
And so Jason
Only if
is,
we're good.
Jason is drafting a letter of support that we can consider at future meetings.
Wonderful.
James, didn't Central come up with that water taxi thing from?
10 years ago.
Yeah, it's been floating around for a long
Have a
time.
water taxi at one point?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
But it was only to,
Terminal Island?
no, it was only to service the sailors that were
Oh,
coming off
right.
of the ships at anchor.
Oh,
Oh,
And
I mean, there was a water taxi business that was birthed out at, the end of, Main Street.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even know if they're still, they may
I
be.
think they still
Yeah,
are.
they were there just like a year
Yeah.
ago.
interesting.
I think they've moved.
it was Phillips.
Ships.
Makes sense.
66. We talked about this at the beginning of the meeting, but I just want to reiterate it. First of all, they will be here to do the first Thursday community input. That'll be in front of Sirens, and if anyone can help publicize it, it'd be appreciated. There are some flyers there.
Oh, yeah.
There are some flyers if you need them. And because they're not gonna be ready, we aren't gonna have the special meeting. They will come to our next regular meeting.
Diana, did I hear somebody from that or in this discussion say that none of that Phillips 66 property could be used for housing?
They seem to be reluctant to use it for housing. Not that none of it, and the reluctance probably related to concerns about how contaminated it may be and
Yep.
whether or not, what it would take to clean it up in order to be for housing. But if you think about it, the part that's across the street would not be contaminated.
That's what I thought, that's 14 acres.
Yeah, so I think I still think we should talk about housing.
That's what I.
There's no.
I would.
You know, there's different kinds of red underground.
A discussion point for possible motion in this committee that housing be included in any discussion about Phillips 66.
After they come to our meeting to present, then we will figure out what kind of position we want to take. But I think going on first Thursday and making that point is important. The cannabis, this is central.
Yes,
Cannabis store, have you heard this, is being proposed?
101.
To South Pacific, which seems to me to be very close to Barton Hill Elementary School.
That's First and Pacific then, right?
Hmm?
First and Pacific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yikes. Wow.
And they've got a community meeting scheduled for Tuesday, May 20th, from 9 to 10 via Zoom. The Cannabis
Commission.
Commission. From 9 to 10 via Zoom to take oral testimony. You can also submit written testimony prior to that time or up until that date. I'll send out in the minutes the information on how to do that. And so all the community input, the written and oral, will be considered in the development of a staff report that will then go to the Cannabis Commission. And that commission will then meet on Thursday, June the 5th, downtown LA. And at that time, they'll make a decision of whether or not to grant the permit. But I'm very,
Is there a way we can get a copy of permit or application?
um,
Because I got the email that, when there's an application and I check it, but then this is the first time I.
Well, there's no link.
yeah, it's not like a planning one. So you might have to call the department and ask them what I would do. The council members introduced a motion asking for a report on the status of the goods movement training facility that we talked about a while back. Copy of the motions in the agenda packet. For those of you interested in the Tuna Street buildings on Terminal Island, I'm looking at James specifically. The LA Conservancy is going to be discussing the historical importance of those buildings on a free Zoom call on Wednesday, May 7th at 12 noon. Axel is one of the presenters.
Oh, wow.
So the event is free, and I will, again, in the minutes, and tell you how you can register for that. Because you do have to register to get the Zoom link. Any other updates?
Only that the, councilman's office has come to some kind of compromise with Sacred Grounds about them, the deal moving them out. However, I would suggest that the land use committee should be negotiating for the retention of legacy businesses. And that in that particular case, since the landlord is the city, and that they're only going to need to be out for a limited number of months, not years, that they be given the legacy business incentive to return to the location. You know, the city has that legacy retention policy. And yet in this case, it doesn't appear as though anybody's considering that in terms of getting them out just to repair the theater.
Can you send us a copy of the city's policy?
The city's legacy policy?
Okay, thanks. And somebody had their hand up.
Kane had his hand up, so.
Okay. On Kane, I wasn't calling on you to vote.
I don't.
Yeah,
Kane
that's what
is
I
our
was trying to, I had my
Oh.
hand up for like the last two unanimous
Oh.
votes.
I am so sorry.
It's okay. I voted, I raised my hand during that time. So I was in the affirmative, so it can still say stay unanimous.
You want to vote yes on all three motions? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I am so sorry. You know, I love my, Kane is the newest member of the Northwest Committee. And
One suggestion, Kane, earlier I tried to promote you to panelist. I don't think you accepted. When you accept that, then you're able to interject and just talk.
Exactly.
So try to do that because otherwise we have to watch the attendees for hands up, and when we're multitasking, but thanks for just calling me and letting me know that's where we're going here.
yeah, I had just now seen the hand and I don't know. I'm sorry.
No worries. Thank you.
Okay, any other updates?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say something on public comments on non.
Okay, the next item is public comments on items not on the agenda.
So I would just like to ask if anybody would like to join me in speaking at Harbor Commission on the need for increased maintenance of our public spaces, 22nd Street Park and others. I would, please email me. We're going to start our advocacy again. I know that Port staff has thanked members that go to the podium, support them and ask for increased budget and staffing to help with maintenance. So we do hear offline from the employees of the port that they're very appreciative of support that they get in that area. So we're going to start speaking to it again, and I'm going to add 22nd Street Park maintenance to my comments at Harbor Commission. So if anybody wants to join me, let me know, because we're going to start up again.
When are you gonna go there?
Probably on a regular basis. What we're trying to do is have different voices and faces at the podium. So if you're interested, we're going to be scheduling it out and looking at talking points on this issue of maintenance.
I think Northwest took a position on it, and if we did, then we can do it as a.
That would be great, rather than having to
Yeah.
get approval every time, because I understand.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, I'm going to be reaching out.
Yeah, I need to double check. Yeah, I think we took
That'd be
a.
great. Because it does help.
Yeah,
Lori had her hand up first.
well, go ahead.
Yeah, well, if anybody is an eligible donor next week, I should say, I believe it's the 30th, there's a Red Cross blood drive up at the LDS temple up on 9th Street.
Oh, okay.
And they give free Cheez-Its
Nice.
Yeah.
I love
and
it.
juice.
Make sure you have enough.
You have to give your blood for it.
Oh, my blood.
I was gonna go along with what Elise was saying, that if anybody would like to go to the port commissioners and speak against the use of artificial turf at West Harbor, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
I would like to, I would like
I
to
have-
do that.
What?
Thank you, Lori. I would like to, I can follow up with you on that.
So you're gonna put that on Northwest?
Yeah.
Sounds like we ought to file a CIS
I have.
Yeah.
on that issue coming out of the port committee.
24-0602.
It was filed, the coastal did one.
Yeah.
So I have two announcements. One is that Peck Park, the walk that Alan leads is this Saturday, right? At 9 a.m. from the lower parking lot, if anyone wants to do it. It's a walk where you learn about the plants and animals, and it's family friendly. And on Saturday, May 3rd, we'll be weeding the native plant garden there. We're always looking for volunteers to help with that.
Planting too.
And planting
another
too.
thing.
And
Aren't you the native plant guy?
you have a question on Peck Park?
No, I was gonna go back to something.
And then on May 31st, Feed and Be Fed will be having their fundraiser in the garden. If anyone's interested in, you can just go on to feedandbefed.org and buy tickets right online. Lamar.
Piggybacking off what Laura had mentioned in terms of the artificial turf, there's a jurisdictional issue on Central, but we intend to bring that issue before land planning.
Okay, Coastal approved a motion on the Monday on that.
Would it be interesting if you could come to the planning committee? Kind of sort of.
Yeah, that's something we can talk about after.
I don't know when it is.
Yeah. Okay, Jason?
Yes, I know I saw Robin on the LA planning meeting on Saturday. There was a pretty disturbing statewide ordinance regarding brush clearing that would apply to SoCal in general, that would have some pretty damaging effects on the local ecosystem, native plants, ripping out a lot of brush, actually on sloped grounds that would cause a lot of landslide issues. I sent a bunch of links to Diana, and I think Robin has them as well. We may want to discuss this at some point and have some kind of letter or motion around this.
Can you prepare something for our Northwest meeting on the 14th?
Sure.
And then we can bring it forward to everyone else after that, whatever we come up with. Anything else for the common good?
Posters, we have materials to distribute if anybody would like posters or yard signs on Neighborhoods United Against.
Do they have any on a stick or?
Yes, right.
Oh, okay, I'll take that one instead.
Okay.
On his stick.
Okay, our next meeting would be May 28th. We expect Phillips to be here. We also expect to hear from the Gibson chassis project, proposed John Gibson's chassis project, which I will just point out, Northwest has already opposed, as has Wilmington Neighborhood Council, as has the council office. But they asked us to come, and so.
Central did too.
Central did too?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
This is the proposed chassis project on North Gibson, right by the police station.
1,794 trucks.
Oh, we had that conversation.
Yeah, they wanted us to come there and we said, no, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
It's gonna come to that. And Northwest is gonna have our regularly scheduled meeting this month on the 14th. We don't always do that, so I want to make sure people knew that. I think that's it. Thank you all. Good meeting.
Thank you.
It'll be on Zoom. The 14th meeting will be on Zoom for Northwest.
Poster had the two much bigger.
I'll tell you.
It's like so small on the bottom.
So our agenda says.